2 true jail horror stories. Prepare to be shocked as I reveal the most chilling and unbelievable jail horror stories that actually happened. This is Mr. H. You're listening to Masked Horror. On the Inside Out. In my 15 years as a corrections officer at the notorious Blackwater Penitentiary, I've seen the depths to which human depravity can sink. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for the horror that unfolded during a routine cavity search one sweltering July afternoon. It began like any other day. The sun blazed mercilessly over the prison yard, casting long shadows that seemed to whisper of the darkness within these walls. That's when he was brought in, Danny, a fresh-faced kid who got caught up in the wrong crowd. Now a new recruit for one of the prison's most feared gangs. The visitation room was tense with anticipation. Danny was there to meet Rico, a name that sent shivers down the spine of even the most hardened inmates. Rico was serving a life sentence for a string of brutal, drug-related murders. Rumors swirled that Danny was tasked with smuggling in drugs to prove his loyalty. Little did he know, he was carrying something far more sinister. As per protocol and former issues with Rico's visitors, his visitors were made to sign a waiver and subjected to a search. What we discovered was beyond comprehension. Sealed packages were retrieved, but they squirmed unnervingly in my gloved hands. A sickening sense of dread washed over me as we cut them open. Out poured a mass of flesh-eating maggots and roaches, their bodies glistening under the harsh fluorescent lights. The room filled with sounds that I'll never forget. As the realization hit us, Rico had exacted his revenge on Danny for skimming money off their operations by turning him into a living, breathing nest for these creatures. Over the following days, Danny's condition deteriorated rapidly. Despite best efforts, the infestation was too severe. The insects had burrowed deep, feasting on his insides, leaving him a hollow shell of agony and despair. On his deathbed, eyes hollow and a voice barely a whisper, Danny confessed. He hadn't known about the insects. He thought he was just smuggling drugs. Tears mingled with the blood on his lips as he begged for mercy, for an end to his suffering. The incident left a mark on all of us at Blackwater. The sheer brutality of using living creatures as instruments of torture was something out of a nightmare. To this day, I can't shake the image of those creatures crawling out of the packages, nor the haunting sound of Danny's screams as they consumed him from the inside out. It was without a doubt the most disgusting and horrific thing I've ever noticed in my 15 years at the prison. A stark testament to the darkness that lurks in the hearts of men, and a chilling reminder that sometimes the true horrors lie not in the darkness of the cell, but within the souls of those who inhabit them. Whispers in Cell Block D. It was my 3rd month at the state penitentiary when I first heard of Cell Block D. The old-timers whispered about it during lights out, their voices trembling as they recounted tales too bizarre to be mere fiction. They spoke of screams that echoed through the vents at night, long after the cell doors clanged shut. Everyone knew about the prison's dark history: overcrowding, riots, unexplained disappearances of inmates. But Cell Block D was different. It was the heart of darkness, sealed off years ago, or so we were told. One icy November evening, as fog clung to the barred windows, the warden gathered a few of us. His face, usually an unreadable mask, seemed tense. "Gentlemen, due to renovations, you'll temporarily be housed in Cell Block D," he announced. The room went silent. Even the guards exchanged uneasy glances. We moved under the dim lights, the clatter of our shackles punctuating each step towards the forbidden block. The air seemed to grow colder as we approached. The entrance to D block groaned open, revealing a corridor shrouded in darkness. The cells, unlike ours, were ancient, the iron bars thick with rust, the walls stained with the passage of time. "Pick a cell, settle in," a guard barked, his voice echoing oddly against the stone. I chose a cell near the end of the corridor. It felt like stepping into a tomb. The small window at the back was barred and covered with grime, allowing no light. I tried to make the space livable, but the chill wouldn't leave my bones. The first night was the hardest. As the lights went out, the silence of cell block D was suffocating. Then it began. The faint sound of someone sobbing from deep within the block. I wrapped my blanket tighter around myself, trying to shut out the noise, but it grew louder, more desperate. The sobs turned into moans, filled with such sorrow and pain that it chilled me to the core. Morning brought no relief. The guards seemed jittery, avoiding our questions. "Just keep to yourself," one snapped when I asked about the noises. Days blurred into nights, and every night the sobbing returned, louder, closer. Other sounds joined, whispers, clanking chains, the soft thud of unseen feet pacing the corridor. I started noticing things, shadows that lingered too long, cold spots by my cell door, a faint scent of decay. My cellmate, a burly man convicted of armed robbery, began to break. He whispered about seeing figures in the shadows, of hearing his name called in a voice that mimicked his dead brother's. Then came the night that everything changed. The sobbing was right outside our cell. Frozen in terror, we watched as a shadow paused at our bars. The air grew thick, almost suffocating. My cellmate screamed, a visceral, tearing sound, and then silence fell. He went to bed, trying to sleep it off under his covers. By morning, he was gone, passed out with no heartbeat. Panic spread through D block, stories surfacing of an old riot, long hushed up, where dozens had died right here. They were never moved, buried within the walls, the old-timer said. The warden denied it, threatened solitary for any talks of ghosts, but fear has a way of creeping deep into your bones. I just knew I wouldn't last. The next night, as the sobbing returned, I felt a cold hand grip my heart. The darkness was palpable, as if alive with the tormented souls of those who never left. I could hear my own breath, ragged and short, as the shadow appeared again, lingering, waiting. I don't know what it wanted, but as it moved closer, I understood it wanted someone. The spirit looked me dead in the eyes. I was almost hypnotized by what I saw. But as the spirit was about to enter my cell, it took a sharp turn to the left cell, right next to me. I tell you, I couldn't sleep that night. I don't know what happened or why it didn't choose me, but I'm just glad to be here. They found the inmate next to my cell the next morning, or what was left of him, staring wide-eyed at the ceiling. The official report blamed a heart attack, but the inmates knew better. I don't know what really happened, but I know something strange that I've never seen before was living, or not living, was in that cell block.